Hey guys, I wanted to do an orientation video and introduce myself. My name is Kim Subach, and I wanted to show you around the class and let you know how things are going to go this semester for our Intro to Bio 1010 online class. So we have an 8-week class this semester, which are pretty fast-paced. We are covering the same content that you cover in a 16-week semester in 8 weeks. So it is fast. We'll cover a chapter or two chapters. I tried to max it out at 2 chapters a week and no more than 2 chapters a week. But it's a decent amount of content over these 8 weeks. So I just wanted to show y'all how it's going to work, go over the syllabus, all that good stuff. So really quick, we've got the homepage. I'm going to put this video right here in the announcement, but all your announcements are here in the beginning, and then we've got our little content widget and then this calendar at the bottom. So all the important things are also in the calendar here, and I'll show you other places where the good stuff is too. First week of class, we need to log in. We'll cover chapter 1. We'll cover the syllabus. I want y'all to look through that. And then after you read the syllabus, I want y'all to do the practice quiz, which covers some questions from the syllabus. So that is a mandatory thing that I want everybody to do. You need to do it by Sunday the 19th. Sunday the 19th. Normally in class, I'm going to have all of your due dates on Monday, normally. But since our very first Monday is Martin Luther King holiday, I have bumped that very first week to the 19th. So all your mandatory things that are due on the first week are the 19th, but after that, everything's due on Monday. So that gives you all week to work on it, the weekend to work on it, because I know a lot of y'all are we've got some traditional students, but we'll also have non-traditional students. And maybe you're married with kids. I am married with kids, 3 teenagers, and I am also going to school full time and working full time. So I'm working on my dissertation right now, trying to get out chapter 3 on that at Valdosta, and also teaching full time. So time management, I feel like, is really important in college, and it's important for me. I'm sure it's important for you too. So I like to give you all the information up front and let you be able to plan ahead for all of these deadlines and things that are coming up. So the first week is a practice quiz, and there's also an introduction discussion post that I'd like for you to make on the first week too, to introduce yourself. I love the intro discussions. I know everybody hates to do them. I don't like doing them as a student, but I enjoy them because it helps me get to know y'all. So just tell me a little bit about yourself for your discussion post in the intro. So those are your two mandatory things, your just intro discussion post and your syllabus quiz, your practice quiz. So those are the announcements. That's the homepage for the syllabus. I already had it up, but we'll do it again anyway. Um, okay, so for the syllabus, we've got all the intro stuff. The lecture is 3 hours. The lab is split off and it's a separate class for 1 hour. This is the lecture video. I'll do a separate video on the lab class next. What does it say? 11:07. I'll fix that. Um, so we've got my contact information here. We've got the Highlands email. You can email me through D2L, absolutely. But I always prefer the Highlands email because the Highlands email goes into Outlook and I have Outlook on my phone. So then I can see that you have emailed me when I'm not logged in my computer. I can only see the D2L stuff when I'm in D2L. So if you email me on D2L and like the deadline is this Sunday and you're emailing me on Friday night and I don't have my computer on Friday night, because I might be doing something else. Um, so email me on the Highlands is the best way to get a hold of me. You can also text me. I've got my phone number on my Google Voice. You can send me a text through that. And if you'd like to meet, we can also meet too. So I've got 2 days for virtual office hours. On Mondays and Wednesdays. And then if you want to meet face to face, I teach face to face on the Cartersville campus on Tuesdays and Thursdays for my bio. My major's Bio 2 class. So if you want to meet before that class starts at 8:30 in the morning, we could do that too. But those are the office hours in case you'd like to meet. I don't know, go over an old test, talk about preparation for tests, whatever you want to do. But that's how to get a hold of me. But also know on the office hours, I'm not sitting in Teams during those online office hours. So please book a time slot for that meeting so I know that you are there because otherwise I don't know that you're sitting in the online Teams room waiting. So book a time slot with me, whether it's the online meeting or the face-to-face. Please do click that bookings link and lock it in so other students aren't coming in on the same time that you thought we were going to meet. So please do book that time for the office hours. And if those office hour times don't work for you, just let me know. Send me an email and we can try and work out a different time that works for both of us. Yeah, so that's how to get a hold of me. Communications, I try to respond to emails within 24, 48 hours as best as possible. On the weekend, it's going to be longer, closer to 48 for sure on the weekend, because kids and kids sports, and we have soccer and swim and all the things. So it'll be a little longer on the weekends, but I try to get back to y'all as soon as possible. The required textbook is the Concepts of Biology. If you take 1010, we're doing the first half of the first chapter 1 through 11. And then if you take 1012 Bio 2, you'll go over the second half of this textbook. The textbook is absolutely 100% free. It is fantastic that it is free and open access for everybody. So you can click this link and get it if you'd like to download the whole PDF to your device, which is always nice because then you can have it whenever you want. I also have the PDF downloaded on my device, and then I chopped it up into the chapters and embedded them into the course. So you can read, there's no excuse not to say I didn't have the textbook, I didn't read the textbook. It's there embedded in D2L2. But here's a link to it if you'd like to go there and download it. You can also purchase a hard copy too if you so desire. Here are the learning objectives for science in general, but what the topics that we're going to cover, very basic biology stuff. A lot of this is high school that you've covered, and we'll just go a little bit deeper in here. This is the intro to bio class. If we were in principles, we would go a lot further in depth and hold you to a higher standard. But this is our intro class, so we're going to keep it kind of surface level. Um, yeah, it is part of our biology is going to satisfy one of your core impacts requirements there. Our career readiness competencies, we are going to do these guys. We are going to cover those with the different assignments and quizzes and things that we have going on in here. It is an online class. It's asynchronous. I'm not going to ask y'all to meet up at a specific time on a specific day. So it is absolutely asynchronous, but we do have deadlines. And like I said, the first week's deadline is Sunday at midnight, but then every week after that, it's going to be Monday at midnight. Monday at midnight. So you do have to complete the work. You just get to do it asynchronously on your own sometime throughout that week. Grading scheme at Georgia Highlands is a 10-point grading scale. If you were someplace else, I've attended Georgia State and they have a plus minus system. We don't do that. We are a 10-point grading scale. So if you are within 1 point, I will round you up to the next one. But if you are more than 1 point, that is my line in the sand and I'm not going to round you up. So if you're an 88, it's an 88. It's a B at that point. Assessments, how do you make that 100? Right now, everyone is sitting at a 100 right now. Solidly, you have an A in this class right now at this moment. And then we're just going to work hard and keep that A. So our big assessments are the tests for sure. So our first test is exam number 1. It's going to count for 11% of your grade. It is going to be 75 questions. A lot of them are multiple choice or matching on our tests, and it's going to cover the first 2 chapters as exam 1. Then for the midterm is going to cover the next chapters 3, 4, and 5 are going to be in the midterm, and it's also going to cover chapters 1 and 2. So the way I do the midterm, we're going to have it's a cumulative midterm. So we're going to have 30 questions of the total of 100 questions. 30 of them are going to be the chapters 1 and 2 questions from exam number 1, verbatim questions pulled from exam number 1 that we are going to pull and randomly select and put in there for the first 30 out of 100. So the first 30 questions are from exam 1. They are the old stuff. Then chapters 3, 4, and 5 are going to be in the rest of the new stuff that are going to be the other 70 questions for a total of 100 questions on the midterm. Now, when I say 100 questions, don't freak out if you get to it and it's like 82, 79. Because when they're matching, it all counts as like one question, but it has multiple points in there. So that's what I mean when I say 100 questions. It's 100 points in there. So your midterm is going to count for a significant portion just as much as your final does. After the midterm's 24% of your grade. After the midterm, all the content resets. So then we'll have new chapters. So we'll have, I think, 6, 7, and 8 are exam 3, and then I think it's 9, 10, and 11 will be the new content for the final exam. And it'll be the exact same thing. Exam 3, all new stuff, 75 questions on the all new stuff. Then the comprehensive final is going to be from the midterm forward. So chapters 6, 7, and 8 will be the 30 old questions. And then the chapters 9, 10, and 11 will be the new stuff for the final exam. So I didn't want to do an overall, know all of the semester's worth of content on the final. So we've broken it up, midterms and then finals. Every chapter, we have 11 chapters in here, which is honestly, it's not that bad because in medical micro that I taught, or foundations of micro is what we call it now, there are 24 chapters and they have it in 8 weeks too. So 11 honestly is not that bad for this class. So every chapter has a quiz. The quizzes are the same things that I do in lecture. So if I was lecturing y'all face to face, these are the same 5 questions I would ask you in a face to face environment. And we do Kahoot or Plickers, something like that. So these questions are just 5 easy peasy questions to make sure that you're still listening to my lectures, which I have recorded in here, by the way, there in the content. But those chapter quizzes, don't be fooled by the chapter quizzes and think that the tests are just as easy as those chapter quizzes. They are not on the same level. There may be some questions pulled from the chapter quizzes, but those are generally easy, are you paying attention in class questions. And there may be some more higher level thinking questions on the test. So please don't come at me and be like, the test was so hard when the quizzes were so easy. No, please do go through the content. I've got study guides. I've got practice things in there. I will help you. But just know those chapter quizzes are for easy are you listening questions. And then we have discussions. So the chapter quizzes count for 15% of your grade. The discussions also count for 15% of your grade. The discussions, I only have 4 of them for y'all. I didn't want to overwhelm you with a discussion every single week on every single chapter, like we would do in eCore, because I also teach eCore, and they have 10 discussions, I think, for their 11 units, something like that. So I narrowed it down to 4 for y'all, so it wasn't as much all the time for it. But I do have discussions in there. We'll go through it. Here are the different descriptions of the different things. Late work, I do have a late work policy for y'all for my online classes, because again, I'm an online student too, so I understand how time can sometimes get away from you and dates go past, and you look down and you've got a 0 on an assignment and you're like, oh no, I thought that was yesterday, or I thought that was tomorrow. So I do have a late policy, but it has to be within 6 days. It has to be within 6 days. If you are going a week or later, um, the placeholder 0 that I put in there initially, when it gets graded because you missed the midnight deadline, that will turn into a full-time permanent 0 after 1 solid week. But if you get it done like the next day, it's 2 points off. It's not a big deal. It's just 2 points off if you turn it in the next day. So I have a 2 points per day late penalty, but then after a solid week that you've missed it, that temporary 0 becomes a permanent 0. On exams, those you need to contact me about making up those. Please contact me as soon as possible if you miss the test, because you need a valid excuse for those. So please let me know right away if you miss an exam. The schedule I've got here, this is the same thing that I put in my paper draft of a syllabus, so I've got it here. I like this better. I use this one more so than the one that automatically pulls into simple syllabus, because the dates sometimes get off or they don't have dates. So if you want to save this PDF and just put these into your whatever you use to organize your life. I put everything into my phone, into my calendar on my phone. If you use a paper planner, whatever you're using to organize your life, this is where all the deadlines are of what is happening every week and when it's due. So please do pay attention to the schedule. I also have it embedded in the content too, but it is here in the syllabus for you to know what is happening when. This is the D2L version of simple syllabus pulled in here. And sometimes, again, it doesn't do dates on everything in here. So please use the one above. It's a little bit better. Sometimes it has dates, sometimes it doesn't have dates. So look above. Then we got the exam policies on here. All of our exams use lockdown respondents monitor. So you will need that in this class. It is an online class. I'm going to treat y'all just like I treat my face-to-face classes and hold you to the same level that I would a face-to-face class. So you are going to be given 75 minutes for each test, just like we would in our face-to-face classes. You are monitored for your test, so it will record you while you're taking your test. You are not to use anything other than a blank piece of paper, that you will show me on your environmental scan when you pick up your computer or your webcam. and turn it around and show me your workspace, and then you show me your blank piece of paper if you need it. You don't have to have a blank piece of paper. But I know a lot of my students do like to have that just to write down problems. If that's what you want, you can have a blank piece of paper, but no other things are to be used on the test. That would be phones, tablets, anything, notes, chapter outlines, nothing like that. That would be a violation of the student code of conduct. And if I see that on the videos and I watch the videos and I have seen some things, so please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that. And also when it is recording you taking the test, I do watch the videos. Please dress appropriately. Dress appropriately. Like you would in your face-to-face class. Treat this like a face-to-face class, please. Please. Um, More policies about exams, read all those little guys. And then we have the standard important dates. Again, Martin Luther King holiday is this coming Monday. So I have the deadlines for that shifted to Sunday, the 19th. But then every Monday after that will be our important day to have everything in by. We don't have to worry about spring break for us in this first 8 week. But if you're taking another class in the second 8 weeks, you'll need it. All sorts of resources are here in the syllabus. Please take advantage of the resources. I always like to stress that your tuition dollars are paying for these resources. Use them. They're free. So if you need tutoring, please do. We have 24/7 tutor.com that we have paid for. So if it's 2 a.m. and you are just not getting a concept, I'm asleep, but somebody is there on tutor.com at 24/7 is what they claim. So you can log on there. If you are having some mental health things, go see a counselor. It's free. It's free. The Writing Center, you got a big paper coming up in English Comp? Writing Center, please go. So all of these resources are here. And I know a lot of my online students aren't going to come to campus and use these, but there's still some that are available virtually for you, like the tutoring is virtual. So please take advantage of these. I always like to share them. I know a lot of my students don't know they're there, but we have resources. We have a food pantry on the Cartersville campus. We have a career closet, all sorts of stuff that I don't know that everybody knows that it's there. So I always like to share. Anyway, back to class. That is the syllabus that we have covered. Homepage, content. Let's tell you where all of the stuff is. So we got the Let's Get Started page, and that's gonna have, the welcome website where it's got another link to the syllabus, but it's got all my tips and tricks to help your study skills. I give this to every single class. It doesn't matter if you are intro to bio, med micro, AP2, um, environmental science, wildlife management, any of my classes. I give all my students the same tips and tricks because what worked for one class might not work for the next class. Like AP1, for example, has a lot of memorization on muscles and bones, but in AP2, it's more synthesis about physiology, and you might need to study differently for that. So I'd like to give everybody lots of tips and tricks to use because you might need to switch things up. And maybe you try one thing and it doesn't work for exam number one, but by the midterm rolls around, you've tried something else and it works for you and it clicks for you. So I'd like to give you lots of different options out there. Um, for you and your study methods. I've got the link to book for, again, office hours. If we need additional prep for exams, I'm here for you. If you need to reach me, again, there's my Highlands email. That is my Google Voice. The other number in the syllabus is my office phone number when I'm physically in the office. Um, so that is this page, the welcome page. Then I've got another link to the syllabus that we just went over. Here is the course schedule one more time. If you just want to bookmark this on your browser, bookmark this. Because again, this is all of the important dates of things that are due when they're due. So that's the schedule. What else do I have in here? Oh yeah, then I've got links for the important things that you got to get done. In this first week to stay enrolled in the class. So add drop is Monday through Fridays, which is nice because usually in the past, I've been teaching for GHC for like 10 years now. And in the past, you only had like 2 days to really suss out the class and see if you liked it. But now you have all week. You've got Monday through Friday to drop or add this class. So you have all week to get the practice quiz done and the intro done, but also start the first chapter's worth of content because remember in the schedule, we have the course overview and the syllabus stuff, but we also have chapter 1 that we're covering in the first week. And chapter 1 is going to have a chapter 1 quiz, and chapter 1 also has its additional discussion. So we have our mandatory attendance items to do as soon as you get in this class and get in on Monday at 12:30 in the morning if you want to. And do those mandatory attendance things, the quiz, the practice syllabus quiz using Respondus, and then your discussion post, your intro discussion. For chapter 1, which is going to be the rest of the week before Sunday, we have the chapter 1 content. And after you finish that content, you can take the quiz on the 5 easy questions that you would have in lecture. And then we have a chapter 1 discussion post. So let's go show you the chapter 1 stuff. With the content, I have broken it down by exam. So we've got the welcome, let's get started stuff, and the important like assignments at each section. So this was our mandatory intro to the class stuff. And then we're going to bust out chapter 1 also in the first week. So here's our chapter 1 stuff. Remember, I was telling you I split up the textbook and put it in here for you. So this is the textbook PDF right here on chapter 1. And then we've got chapter outlines. So I went in and read the textbook and then copied what I feel like is the important stuff out of the chapter and made chapter outlines with it. So those are in here. I think most of the professors at GHC use the chapter outlines. I think they're really helpful. But if you're reading through the chapter outlines and you need more information because it's not making sense to you, go back to the textbook. And if it still doesn't make sense to you after you've gone and read the textbook, then please email me, or my dog has decided to say hello on the video. I don't know if she's showing up on the camera. Nope, she's not. Please take her away. Um, anyway, where were we? Chapter outlines. Yeah, I think a lot of this, the teachers use them for Bio 1010. I think they're really helpful. But if you need more info, go back to the textbook. And if the textbook's not working for you, come see me. We can set up an office hours visit, and we can do that. PowerPoints, my lecture PowerPoints, I give them to all the students because sometimes my PowerPoints have links to other things, links to videos outside of the PowerPoints. And so I want y'all to have those. Then I record my lectures just like I would in a face-to-face environment for my online students too. So if we are covering content, it's in here. So we've got the 1.1 section is in here, 1.2 section is in here. And then if it's other content that I've got a video lecture on, I've got it in there too. Near the bottom of the content is the study guide. So every chapter has a study guide too. Is it going to pull up for me? Yeah, there we go. So we've got vocabulary terms here. And then our questions at the bottom. So these are, if you can answer these questions fully, knowledgeably, and you could explain this to a classmate, which is one of the study tips I put in the tips and tricks. Like if you want to make a study group and then explain these concepts to your study mates from your study group or your spouse, or talk to your dog, like mine just interrupted my video. If you want to explain these to your pet at home, whatever works, but these are the concepts that you need to have for each chapter. And then we got our vocabulary terms. Do not get bogged down on all these vocabulary terms though, and don't complete the questions for the chapter. It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. But these are your concepts. If you're really good on the concepts, the vocabulary will come with those. But please don't spend all your time making flashcards and making a brand new Quizlet out there or whatever for these vocabulary terms and miss out on these concepts at the bottom, because these are really important too. All right, so I kind of have an order of priority. We've got the chapter textbook at the very top for order of importance, and then we go down. So then I've got my lectures here, study guide is here, and then remember I was telling you the assignments, like the things that you're going to get graded on, are at the bottom. So here's your lecture quiz with the 5 relatively easy questions. If you were watching the videos, if we were in our face-to-face class, these would be your 5 quiz questions to make sure you're paying attention. We have a discussion post for chapter 1. Not every chapter has a discussion post, heads up, but the very first one does. The very first one does. So we have discussion post number 1 on the study of life. So I've got the descriptor on what I want you to put in your discussion post. Make sure that you are following the instructions on what you put in your discussion post. Make sure that you cite where you got your information to back up your discussion posts on all your discussion posts. Please cite them. And then also ask a classmate a question. put a question for your classmates in your thread. So that way it actually makes it a discussion. And then you can respond to your classmates' post. So you need to have two responses to your classmates' questions too. So those are our mandatory items. And let me show you, I've got rubrics for all of these. So if we click on discussion, for example, um, study of lab, there it is, discussion rubric. So here we are. We've got our does this discussion post encompass the learning outcomes for that chapter that discussion post was supposed to do? Do they understand and master the concept of it? Is literature cited and well supported in your discussion post? Um, are you presenting your concepts and communicating them well? Did you pose a question to your classmates? Is it well written? Or are there errors in there? Please write these yourself. I know it's super easy to just throw this into ChatGPT and have them spit something out, but these need to be your own works. These need to be your own writings. Please make them your own. Even if you throw it in there just to, grammar check it, that I'm cool with that, but make it your own, okay? Make it your own. I want these to be your thoughts. And then again, responses to classmates. Please have a meaningful response and not great post. That doesn't count. I mean, it would count. It would count as a response, but you would get 1 point. If you just put good job and not like an actual meaningful response there, that would get you all 5 points for that. So this is the rubric for discussions and how they're going to be graded, and we have 4 of them. The first one begins on chapter number 1. So that is rubrics. On the discussion posts, almost everything I've got has a rubrics, and I always like to show y'all what those are for expectations. This is exactly how you are graded. I like to be as transparent as possible. What else do we have in there? There's our lecture quiz, the 5 easy questions. There's our discussion post, and that is it for chapter 1. So our very first week of material is our mandatory 2 items, the practice quiz to make sure that your Respondus Lockdown browser works on your device. If that doesn't work, if you are having technical difficulties, I know that you can come to the Cartersville campus and the library will loan out laptops. Sometimes it depends on how much inventory they've got. Sometimes they can loan out a laptop for the entire 8-week semester, and then other times they can only do a loaner laptop for like 2 days. But still, if you can get that loaner laptop for 2 days, that's enough time to do the tests. The exams I have open for longer. I try and give you several days to complete the exams because if you look at, again, let's look at that schedule one more time. Sometimes the exams, there we go, pull it up. There we go. So for example, not this week's deadline because we're only covering chapter 1, but next week's deadline on Monday the 27th, we have several things due that week. We have exam number 1, which I told you was going to cover chapter 1 and chapter 2, but we also are covering chapter 3's content because the only way I can get through 11 chapters in 8 weeks is to double up some chapters. And sometimes some weeks you're going to be doing 2 chapters. So we had to squeeze in chapter 3 also in this week, but chapter 3 is not on the test. It's not on the test, but you're still expected to cover chapter 3's content this week. So please bookmark this page. Know what is due when it is due. So we will have exam number 1. And if you want to go in chronological order and you know that the test is due on Monday, but you had free time on Friday, before that, knock out the test. Get through your chapter 1 material, get through your chapter 2 material, knock out exam number 1 on that material, and then Saturday and Sunday you can spend on chapter 3. I know everybody's schedule is different. Again, I'm trying to give you all the information up front so you can plan accordingly. But these on the second week of class, we're going to have the second discussion. We're going to have chapter 3's quiz. We're going to have chapter 2's quiz and a test. And a test. So this is a lot of stuff coming in at week number 2. So trying to let you know straight up in first week of class, this is how this class is set up. These are the expectations. These are the things that are due and when they're due, so you can plan your best with your time to get these knocked out. So I think that's covering everything. If you ever need a shortcut to stuff, we've also got this quick link up here for assessments. You can jump right to discussions. You can jump right to quizzes. If you're curious about a rubric about something, it's there. At the end of the semester, I always offer my students an itty bitty little bit of bonus points. If you do the course survey at the very end, you finish it and it'll say completed at the end. Just screenshot the completed and upload the completed bit, and you get 2 points towards your final exam grade. So we have the cumulative, that was 24% of your grade, and then your final exam is 24% of your grade. So it'll be 2 percentage points towards that final exam grade if you wanted to do this, but it is completely optional. You don't have to do this. And it is anonymous. So that's the only assignment I have in the assignments thing is our bonus points. If you want to reach out to fellow classmates, you can do so on, you can email them, and you could create a whole study group if you want to. You can do that over email and then communicate with a group me or whatever you want to use, to get in touch with everybody. Grades. Oh, I didn't talk about grades. I talked about the course breakdown, but on grades, I've got them in here. Lecture quizzes, all the chapters are in here. The practice quiz that I told you is mandatory. Those are bonus points that I'm going to throw in there for the lecture quizzes. And I also drop one too. So if there was a week that you totally forgot, like maybe it's week 2, remember, and I was telling you how week 2 is covering exam 1, which is chapters 1 and 2, and you totally spaced about chapter 3's quiz, that could be your dropped quiz because I'm going to take the top 10 quizzes. There's exam number 1. For discussions, I don't drop any discussions. Please get those done on time. They are going to be 15% of your grade, and they are 25 points apiece. Then we got the midterm, 24% of your grade. By midterm, I think the midterm is going to have a really fast turnaround as far as getting it done and when the deadline for dropping is. I'm going to try my best to get everything graded, have everything updated, and give you a midterm letter grade ABC for where you stand in the class. So you know in case it's time to get out before midterm. And it's not that big of a deal at all. It just shows you a W on your transcripts, not a big deal. If you are watching this video and you're like, this is too much for me, I am getting out right now. You can do that too. Get out by Friday. Get out by Friday at midnight. Um, and it won't even show up on your transcripts. But if you decide to stick it out, and I hope you do, because I want you here, um, stick it out. Um, and you will be locked into the course after Friday at midnight. But if you're just something comes up and you just cannot focus on school, and you need to get out of the class after class has already started, then get out before midterm. And it's just a W. I myself have 2 on my transcripts, because I struggled in organic chemistry 2 and calculus 3 were hard for me. So don't be ashamed if you need to withdraw. It's okay. But that's that process. Then after midterm, exam 3, 75 questions. Then we got the final exam, 100 questions. And then there's a final letter grade too. Because sometimes the class ends and then you have like a whole solid week while you are anxiously awaiting your letter grade out of score banner to see what it is. So I like to put it in there too, so you don't have to wait. Like you'll know before it even posts in banner what your final letter grade for the class is. Um, yeah, so that is the breakdown. I wanted this video to be 20 minutes and it ended up being 34. So I am sorry it is so lengthy, but put me on 1.5 or 2 times speed and hopefully you will be totally good. If you have any questions, please reach out. It is nice to see all of y'all. I look forward to your intro discussion post so I can learn more about you. But reach out. Don't be a stranger, and we're gonna have a great semester. Bye, guys.